I'm from the Jewish community, and I was really disturbed to see you tweet in support of what Katie Hopkins said, referring to London under Sadiq Mayor as Londistan, suggesting that, our Muslim friends and neighbours are taking over London. So I was wondering, with that in mind, how are you planning to represent the great Muslim community of London?
Hello, Lauren. Well, actually, I'm glad you brought this up, because when I retweeted... Oh, no, I think I liked it. I don't know. This was a long time ago. That wasn't in my mind, and I'm glad you've given me the opportunity to say.
I think you did. You retweeted.
Did I retweet? I have no idea.
It's rather concerning. I have to tell you what you did. But anyway, and apologies for the language. Katie Hopkins called the London mayor, quotes, "our nipple height mayor of Londonistan." And you replied, "Thank you, Katie." Why?
I can't remember doing that. Probably because I'm so...
You can't remember doing that?
No, of course not. Nick, I tweet, or used to...
Do you remember liking a tweet that had the language, "It's never too late to get London back," with a picture of Enoch Powell?
Yes, and I've explained that. It's never too late, which is what I'm saying to you. It is not too late to make London better again. We've got traffic jams left, right and centre. We've got the ULEZ expansion.
Are you a fan of Enoch Powell?
No, of course not.
But why? I don't understand. There was a picture of him, and you liked that tweet.
I know. If you're a serial tweeter, you tend to go through liking all sorts of things, and you sometimes read things and don't see it. If anybody is offended, then obviously I would apologise. But you
can't see why people would be offended with that. You say if anyone is offended.
Well,
I have to explain to you the offence.
No, because it wasn't intended, and this is the thing. If anybody
called Gemma Collins a stupid fat blonde woman, was that intended?
I was asking a question to Twitter as to who is this person, and I've apologised for that as well. People will throw these tweets at me, and I accept it. And if I've offended anybody, I apologise.
You keep saying "if" as if you can't realise that there is offence, Susan Hall.
Because
I'm sorry to say it again. Calling someone a stupid fat blonde woman, liking a picture of Enoch Powell, talking about the mayor. Apologies again. A nipple height mayor. You seem surprised people are offended.
Some people are, and some people aren't. Those that are offended, I didn't intend to cause any offence at all. But going back to Lauren...
To the broader question, can you represent Muslims? Can you represent women? Can you represent people? Susan Hall.
Yes, of course I can.
Explain to Lauren how.
And going back to Lauren,
yes,
of course,
please.
We've got an incredible Muslim community. We really do. I go back to saying if... To whoever was offended, I most sincerely apologise. I spent a lot of time in mosques, etc., because in London we're very, very lucky. We've got a really good multicultural community out there, and it brings extra depth to London.
Lauren, quick response from you before we move on.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not quite convinced. I think anyone in London from any minority group should be worried.
All right.
I understand that your one policy is to scrap the ULEZ on day one if you come into office. So what do you propose to do as an alternative to deal with the capital's lethal air pollution problem?
OK. Hello, Dave. Thank you for calling in. The ULEZ expansion is what I would scrap on day one, not the original ULEZ or even the one that goes to the North and South Circular, the expansion of the ULEZ. And you live in Harrow, as I do, so you'll know that we do not have the transport offer, the public transport offer that they do in central London. So if we look to see if there are any pockets of bad air quality, I've found £50 million in an environmental budget in City Hall that we would put, that councils would bid into to rectify what is causing that hotspot, if you like. But it's for whatever Sadiq Khan says, his own impact assessment showed that the extended ULEZ would make virtually no difference at all to air quality. So it's just nothing but a tax grab from him. The commissioner of the TfL admitted that they had put £200 million into the budget from fines that they will make from people that have to pay their £12.50 and the fines, of course. And that's nothing but a tax grab on poorer people.
Let's just clarify. So there'd be no statutory consultation?
No,
as of day one?
No. If people vote for me, they will get ULEZ. The ULEZ expansion will be stopped on day one.
So, OK. So no cost. And the £150 million it's cost to date, would be written off?
No, the cameras, and this is slightly controversial. I absolutely give my word, I would not use the cameras for pay per mile because, of course, that's where he's going with all of this.
Can you prove that?
What, that I won't do it?
No, that he's going for that he, being Sadiq Khan, is going
Fair
pay
enough.
per mile.
He's actually employing people to look at the software to do it at the moment. It's been admitted in actual committee meetings.
What would you use the cameras for?
I would give them to the police. They've all got ANPR, obviously, which is automatic number plate reading. And it's a massive tool for the police to know if they've got somebody they're looking for in a vehicle, they could recognise whether they were leaving or entering London.
What about the budgetary shortfall? I understand ULEZ is expected to provide £200 million a year for TfL. Some of that will obviously stay because you're not getting rid of the whole of it. But what about the shortfall? How will you make the money up?
The Mayor has got a £21 billion budget. It's a massive budget. He tends to waste money. We're working on a document at the moment to see where things could be reduced, if you like, or removed. At the end of the day, Nick...
So you're going to have to rob from somewhere else to pay for this?
Well, this I would call a robbery in itself because it's taking from the poorest people in London at the moment. And that's unacceptable for any politician to tax the poorest. And that's exactly what this tax is.
Quick response from the caller, Dave. Your response to what you've heard from Susan Hall?
Well, I just put a question. She says that the poorest people are those. The poorest people actually are the ones who are suffering, who don't even drive a car, who have to suffer living in lethal air every day.
Dave, I live in Harrow. We both know that the air quality in Harrow is not as Sadiq Khan is portraying it. It's good. And if there are any pockets where there is air pollution, councils can bid into that fund that I will put in place to deal with it. It could be a bus route. It could be the way the pavement's built out. It could even be that, but not in Harrow because we've got rid of them. It could be an LTN, a low traffic neighbourhood, because they are causing nothing but pollution, and yet Sadiq Khan approves of those.
Lastly, you are aware a young woman in the London Borough of Lewisham living in Catford lost her life due to toxic air in this city.
And it's very sad, and I've spoken to her mother. It's very sad that anybody would lose their life, and bless her, she had very, very bad asthma. I accept that, and that has happened. But equally, if you saw some of the emails, Nick, I'm getting from people that are now in a dreadful state because they don't know what to do. They can't get to work.
Nothing gets near the life of a schoolgirl, does it?
It is a very sad situation that young lady lost her life. I grant you that. But equally, we're now putting people in a position that they don't know what to do with themselves. They're in a shocking state. And we're looking at outer London. Outer London has a different offer completely to inner London, and we both know that, Nick.
There's a speech yesterday made by Home Secretary Suella Braverman. Yes, it was over in Washington, and it talked about the challenge of migration to the whole of Europe. It talked about how some people are finding it too easy. They can claim that they can get access to a country by claiming that they're homosexual, by saying that they're a woman. And she also said that multiculturalism is a failed dogma. Surprised you haven't had sight of that, Susan.
No, well, I was working till late last night, and I had to and I had to be up very early this morning.
Okay, is multiculturalism a failed dogma?
You see, we're in London. In London, multiculturalism is a good thing. I mean, I absolutely approve.
When you say it's a good thing, give me my listeners.
Because it makes our city richer in so many different ways. Legal immigration is a really good thing, and we need it for jobs, etc.
Well, our hospitals wouldn't run without it.
Exactly. But illegal immigration is wrong, and that's what we really need to deal with. But in London, we have got so many different communities, and we benefit from that.
And is it the challenge that the Home Secretary is saying, a European and Western challenge? Hundreds of millions, but not all seeking to get to the UK. But do you see it as that challenge? What does it mean for London?
Well, it is a challenge in as much as is a massive pressure on all the services. Right. And in London, of course, we've got a massive housing problem.
Personal question here. You mentioned safety on the streets. I hope you don't mind me asking this. Do you feel safe walking home in London at night?
No, not anymore.
What are your concerns?
You ask most women, if you're walking along at night and you can hear somebody behind you, you think, who's that? Do you know what I mean? You do. And it's funny because I've spoken to men and they don't feel that. I spoke to a friend of mine and he said whenever he walks home from the pub drunk, he's not in the least concerned who's around him. He feels perfectly all right. Women don't, and I'm talking to young women in the office, and they carry their keys with the sharp bit hanging up their hands, so that, you know, and the number of people I've said that to in various meetings, and they say, well, I do that, I do that. Well, since I heard that, yes, I did. I hadn't thought about it, but, you know, you do feel far more threatened, and the person behind you is almost certainly going to be fine. It's just at night, and the echo of the steps, and you look behind you and you think, ooh.
When did this understandable nervousness start?
I would say in the last 5 years I've been more concerned than I've been before.
What would you do as mayor as regards policing?
We need more. We need more of our officers on the streets. We have more.
Where are you going to take them from?
Well, I tell you what. So I keep asking the question, where are they? And one of the answers that came back to me last week or the week before was university. They're seconded to university. I have, in all the years I've been dealing with the police, I have never heard that before. And I asked a senior officer, what's that all about? And she said, oh, well, yes, they're given time off to go to university. So I'm asking official questions, because sometimes some of these units are 50% understaffed, not because there isn't staff there, but because they're off sick, they've been seconded to something else, they're pulled away from something else. I mean, you know, right. We've got to look at this, and we've got to look at it seriously.
We might